Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the couch. Today, I'm going to be talking a little about the Game Awards. Been seeing a little bit of stuff about the nominations for Game of the Year. Here we have the 6 potential Games of the Year. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, I have only played 3 out of 6. I have played Clair Obscur, Hades 2, and Silksong. I have not played Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but I think I know enough about them and these games to make some sort of statement. I apologize if my thoughts on the 3 I haven't played aren't quite right. Hopefully it's close enough that it makes sense, but I've seen some interesting things being thrown around, and from my perspective, it's not really much of a competition, and I've been trying to figure out a way to illustrate that effectively. And I think I've come up with a good little analogy here, but we'll see. Step 1. What the heck is Game of the Year supposed to mean, right? To me, a Game of the Year is a standout best game of that year. Now, that might not be your favorite game. It might not be the best of any one category, whether it be art, music, gameplay, genre. It's an all-encompassing thing, an ideal, something that, you know, it's stand out, that game, something to be celebrated. Now, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer here, but let's talk about it a little bit. So, from the games I've played, we'll start there. Hollow Knight Silksong is, try and say this correctly, has some incredible moments and has a lot of really good stuff. I don't remember which category. I voted for Hollow Knight Silksong in at least one category other than this. Like the art direction, I think that might have been the category. The art direction, the soundtrack, the movement, some of the boss fights, the world building, it has some components of excellent games. To me though, Hollow Knight Silksong is a motorcycle, and pardon me, vehicle people, I don't know a lot, but let's just pretend that this is a fancy motorcycle that you have to take care of yourself. You can't just be a casual motorcyclist enjoyer and get this. This thing is, I don't know what motorcycle this is, I just found a picture. But let's say this thing is fast, everyone thinks it's like beautiful and sexy or whatever. But like, if you're getting a first-time vehicle or something, this thing is not what you would recommend. You need to know what you're doing, and even if you do, you might just get hit by another car and die. Like, this is not an optimal daily commute vehicle, is what I'm getting at. This is a niche offering that, to certain people, is gonna be their favorite thing in the world. Like, this could be someone's baby. This is gonna be their favorite thing. But if we're talking about a vehicle market and for like a populace, this is never gonna be vehicle of the year. It's just not that category, is what I'm getting at. Because then let's compare it to something. So I would say Clair Obscur here is just the far and away winner of this, because this bad boy is just like a sedan. It is like I feel like I remember people talking about Toyotas never breaking down and not having to have a lot of service and all that crap. But what I'm going for is, it's like a car you could be anyone's first car. This game you could recommend to anyone. But it also is it's not gonna fail you. You're like, you get in a wreck, you'll be fine. The car might crumple and be totaled, but you're gonna be great. You're not gonna have to worry about it. It goes as fast as it needs to go. It has plenty of room. It's just a really good car. And then we'll get Hades 2 is, let's see, where it is. I've lost it. Where did it go? There it is. It's like a pickup truck. Like this analogy doesn't quite work with me because I really love Hades 2. But like I don't want to pick up, so this doesn't quite work. But not everyone needs a pickup truck, or maybe even wants a pickup truck. It is really good at moving things. Like, it's a lot easier to put something big and random shapes and tie it down in the back. It can pull things. It can, move objects. It's a, good working vehicle. And maybe even if you aren't looking for that, maybe you just like it. I don't know. But it's a car that is not going to probably be a car or vehicle of the year for just everyone. Because if you're in different parts of the world, you probably don't need a pickup truck. If you're, hopefully it makes sense. Because it's a car that is a lot better at certain things than, say, your like average little sedan Claire Obscure. It serves a different purpose, but it is significantly safer than like your motorcycle. Like, I think it's a really well done pickup truck, if that makes sense. But I don't think when in a battle with something that exists as such a universal, I don't think it's gonna work. And then, so pardon me here if these get a little wonky or offensive. That is not the intention. I don't think anything here is deserving or is not deserving of being talked about as a really good game. And any of these could be someone's, not that a game has to be good to be your favorite, but any of these, if these are like, this is my favorite game of all time, I think that could make sense. I think these are all great. Well, I think these are all, I have complicated feelings about some of these, but I don't think any of them are undeserving of being here. But to try and illustrate the differences I see and why I'm so confused that, like, I don't know why this is like really a discussion, but so like Donkey Kong kind of like the little kitty car that you can put your feet through. Like, if we're talking about a game of the year, it's like, I think next to some of the other dogs, it's like, well, that, yeah, it do be a game. It looks like it's probably fun. I mean, I would get in that kitty car. Hell yeah. But like, it's a Switch 2 exclusive, and I was about to say, like, it's not innovating, but the physics and the world destruction, some of that looks epic, but just, I think it's serving such a small population, even just from like an access to the game point of view, that it's kind of hard to be, that thing where it's like, you're gonna, I don't want to say you're gonna grow out of it, but like, you might not fit in it. You might not fit in that car, that little kitty car. You might not fit. Like, you might just not be able to play that. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to play it. I don't have a Switch 2. And then, so Death Stranding to me, it's a little hidden. We can show that a little bit better. Okay. This one is probably the worst one I have, because like Cybertrucks are, I think, kind of awful. And that's not what I'm meaning to say here. But I was trying to find stuff that was different enough that it could illustrate the point. But like, I don't really get the Death Stranding thing. So that kind of fits here where I'm like, I don't get why you'd want a Cybertruck other than it looks kind of like the low poly Warthog from Combat Evolved. Like if I could drive a Warthog around, that would be sick. Dun, 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 you know, like that would be cool. But this car, it kind of like sucks. But so I'm not saying that Death Stranding is bad, but in the same way that I don't get why you'd want a Cybertruck, I don't really get why I'd want to play Death Stranding 2. But there's enough love around Death Stranding 2 that like I think it is valuable, but I can't really wrap my head around it. And so while I do think it looks visually incredible and there's obviously something going on with the storytelling and the world building, I don't know what that is. I don't know if anyone does. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it, but I hope that that just, it kind of encapsulates that. I'm like, you know, you know, this is all my perspective, but if I can't like figure out, like, is that it? It's definitely art. Does it look like a game of the year? I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know. And then for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I really wanted to play the first one and I'd play the second one. It looks like it's right up my alley, but for some reason I just like haven't gotten into it. They look pretty big and needy, so that could be part of it. I'm a little, you know, don't run out of the time. But so what I picked for that is like a semi truck. I don't know if you can tell, but I kind of ran out of ideas after the motorcycle, the pickup, and the like sedan, because I was like, I don't really know enough about cars, but I thought it made sense. But it's kind of like, right, another specialized thing, and like it clearly fulfills a purpose on the road. None of the other vehicles here are going to be able to move as much things between places. Just transportation, the economic supply chain here, incredible. Like I so much want games like this to exist and to be celebrated. I want the things to get to where they're going. I want people to have the games they want to enjoy. But if we're talking about like a vehicle of the year, a game of the year, a lot of people, you know, rely on the different affixes of things, whether it's enjoyment or like systemic, but it's not gonna be the quintessential thing is what I'm getting to. This one I probably could be a little more off, because like I don't know, like I think something probably like, you know, like a Skyrim, etc. probably would have been game of the year for its year. I might have to look into that. I don't know what that meant. But so like I don't think anything about like a fantasy role-playing game definitely can fit that spot, but I feel like given my touch of like the zeitgeist and stuff, it's a little bit more niche and simulate-y than probably hits the, you know, like I'm not arguing for the most popular game or the most pleasing thing is the game of the year, but I do think the broad appeal is a really important part. It's like what I was touching on with like, you know, motorcycle versus regular car, is that I think a game of the year should be something that you can recommend to like literally everyone you know. And that if you're sitting around talking with your friends, you're like, you should play this game, and be like, if they come back with, I've heard it's X, you can be like, no, it's fine. Because like Hades 2, I'm like, you should play Hades 2, and they're like, I don't really like roguelikes. I don't really need that kind of car in my life. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess actually if you know you don't really like the gameplay loop, yeah, I then you might not enjoy it. Like I love the characters and the art, but yeah, okay, I get that. But then if you're like, and then you're like, oh, I genuinely, I can't recommend Hollow Knight Silksong to anyone I know. I can't do it because it's crazy tough. It's crazy tough. And whether or not, no matter where you fall on the spectrum of like how difficult it is, or like difficulty good, get good, practice, etc., I just don't think that that element lends well to a game of the year. I think an interesting counterpoint would be something like Elden Ring, which did win Game of the Year. But I think the accessibility options, just as far as getting through the game goes, are astronomically different. The amount of like build differences you can go for in Elden Ring and the amount of things you can do to change the difficulty scaling from Ashes to War to co-op is just does not exist in Hollow Knight Silksong. And I don't want to get into like the difficulty conversation for Souls likes or whatever, but like Clair Obscur, I'm pretty sure you could turn the difficulty down and tank everything in the game. I bet like I think I could probably recommend the game to my mom and she could play it. And like that's probably true of Donkey Kong or Death Stranding and Kingdom Come. I don't know what it's like. But like I think the accessibility and getting to experience the full thing is not something that can be written off, as well as the broad appeal of its contents. I straight up don't like turn-based games. I don't like turn-based RPGs. So I went into Clair Obscur expecting to not like it from a like gameplay level, and that game is incredible. I still don't think I would want to play another turn-based game, but it made me rethink my prejudice for turn-based games. I hope this helps elucidate where I just don't see the argument. Even if you don't like Clair Obscur, even if you played it and are like, I just didn't get anything out of the characters, which is like, what? But I hope you can see the car analogy, and because I just don't like, even if I didn't like it, it's just so, it's such a no-brainer to me, because if things are even remotely equivalent quality-wise of their like components, like I could see people saying they like the soundtrack and the art style for Silksong more than like the soundtrack and the art style for Clair Obscur. Easy. I think I voted for art style in Silksong over Clair Obscur, even though I think that game is beautiful and the art direction is whimsical and cool. But like I think, you know, a lot of components things, and like Death Stranding, that game, I've seen stuff, and that game looks gorgeous. The simulation elements in Kingdom of Deliverance, incredible. The gameplay tightness and the loop of Hades 2 is exquisite. The Donkey Kong Bonanza looks like such a great time. But if with equivalent, you know, components and things, I think the one with the broader accessibility impact is you know, a cut above. Also going through and looking through and seeing that that's the, you know, indie debut is like, I don't know how that's not just like boom. Also, just sitting here realizing right now that 4 of these are direct sequels, basically. One of them is a continuation of a long-running series. We have Donkey Kong, which is the next in a long line of Donkey Kongs. Death Stranding, literally 2. Hades 2. Kingdom of Deliverance 2. And then Hollow Knight Silksong, which is like Hollow Knight 2. Continuations of beloved things. Awesome. Great. You know what's better than 1 cake? 2 cakes. And you know what's better than 1 cake? 6 cakes. These are 6 cakes, all to be enjoyed. But is it crazy if you had 6 bakeries near you, 5 of which you'd already eaten cakes from and they're great, and they make more cakes and they're great, but a new bakery opens up and it's offering a new cake, and then you're like, what's the best bakery, or you know, what's the baker of the year, and you're like, a breakout cake? Even if they're all this, like, even if they're all 5 stars, do you not want to incentivize more cakes? Someone made a cake? I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense to someone. this is my 2 cents. I would love to hear opposing opinions. It's just I feel like there's a lot of things where, like, if I was discussing individual games, I could, like, I think I'm probably wrong or borderline offensive to people who like the 3 games I haven't played, maybe even Silksong, because I know a lot of people are, you know, reviewing that game and saying it's the best game of all time. So me even insinuating that it might not be game of the year might be a little bit like, uh-oh, but I would love to hear opposing things, because I'm not seeing it, but hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I hope I see you around, maybe hear from some of you in the comments or on stream. But hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, morning, void time, I don't know. And bye-bye for now.